The sun was bright that morning on the coast of North Carolina. The waves hit the shore gently, and seagulls flew low over the sand. The beach house at the edge of the dunes stood quiet except for laughter coming from the balcony. Inside that house, Amanda and Joel were getting ready for what was supposed to be a perfect weekend. They had rented the place for 5 days, hoping to enjoy peace before their big wedding next month. Amanda, a teacher from Ohio, and Joel, a graphic designer from Florida, had met 3 years earlier while volunteering at a summer camp. Everyone who knew them said they were the perfect match. Amanda was warm and funny, and Joel always found a way to make her laugh, even during stressful moments. They had recently gotten engaged, and this beach trip was their way of celebrating their future. They brought food, books, games, and even a new waterproof phone case so they could take videos together in the water. Joel joked that he'd start a YouTube channel called Honeymoon Practice. Amanda laughed so hard that tears ran down her cheeks. That first day at the beach was magical. The couple swam in the warm ocean, made sandcastles like kids, and even took pictures with a friendly dog that ran up to them on the sand. Later that evening, they sat by the balcony with ice cream, watching the sunset. Amanda seemed deep in thought. She held Joel's hand tightly and smiled, but there was something else in her eyes. Joel noticed, but didn't say anything. He figured she was just emotional about the wedding coming up. That night, Amanda sneaked into the bathroom with something in her bag that Joel didn't know she had brought: a pregnancy test. She had been feeling odd for a few weeks, tired, nauseous, and emotional. She didn't want to say anything until she was sure. As she waited for the result, her hands shook. When the little screen showed a plus, Amanda sat on the floor and let out a long breath. She wasn't sure how Joel would react, but she knew she wanted to tell him the next morning when they went snorkeling together. She planned to slip the test into the waterproof bag with the phone and surprise him underwater. She even laughed thinking how Joel might drop his snorkel from shock. But the next morning, something changed. The beach house was quiet. No one saw Amanda and Joel come out. The beach remained peaceful, but something felt off. By mid-morning, the owner of the rental tried calling them. No answer. Their rental car was still in the driveway. Their shoes were by the door, but inside, no one was there. The police were called later that day when Amanda's sister, who was expecting a call, reported they weren't answering. Authorities searched the house and found 2 towels missing, along with snorkeling gear. It looked like they had gone for a swim, but there were no signs after that. No screams, no reports of struggle. Their phones were gone, and so were they. What should have been a joyful getaway turned into a haunting mystery that would leave both families broken and the town full of questions. Days turned into weeks, and the mystery only grew deeper. Amanda and Joel's families arrived at the beach house, hoping for any sign of what happened. The police searched the nearby waters using boats, helicopters, and divers, but nothing was found. There were no footprints leading away from the house, and no items washed ashore. Amanda's mother stood on the beach every morning for a month, staring out at the ocean, calling her daughter's name into the wind, hoping somehow she would appear. Joel's father, a quiet man, refused to leave the area, even sleeping in a rented car near the shoreline. News stations from around the country came to cover the story. "Engaged couple vanishes without a trace," the headline said. But all anyone could do was guess. Some believed they had been pulled out by a strong current. Others wondered if foul play was involved. But the strangest theory came from an old fisherman who lived nearby. He told reporters that the reef about a mile offshore was known to pull down things and never give them back. He said it was like a secret underwater cave that swallowed anything it wanted. Investigators checked the reef several times, but diving there was difficult. Sharp rocks, dangerous currents, and poor visibility made it nearly impossible to search well. Still, the families never gave up. Amanda's sister started a Facebook group for tips and clues, which thousands of people joined. A few claimed they saw the couple in other states, but those tips led nowhere. Joel's best friend made a documentary about their story, hoping to bring in more attention. It aired on TV a year later, but still no answers came. One night, around the 2-year mark, Amanda's mother had a dream. She saw Amanda standing underwater, holding something glowing in her hand, surrounded by light. The mother woke up crying, feeling it was a sign. She called a local diver and begged him to search the reef again, but it was still too dangerous at the time. No one wanted to risk their life for a theory born from a dream. By the third year, the case went cold. The family still remembered, still cried, still prayed, but fewer people talked about it now. The beach house was rented out again, though some guests said they felt strange things there. Doors closing by themselves, voices in the night, cold air in the summer heat. One woman even claimed to see a couple standing on the balcony, holding hands and vanishing in the moonlight. Whether true or not, the mystery stayed alive in the hearts of those who loved Amanda and Joel. Every year on the date they disappeared, their families came back to the same beach, lit candles, and placed flowers in the sand. Amanda's mother always brought a small stuffed bear Amanda had since she was a baby. Joel's father would toss a seashell into the water, whispering a prayer. No one ever gave up hope fully, but by year 5, even hope had grown quiet. Then everything changed one afternoon when a young diver named Kyle went exploring the reef. He had heard the stories and always wanted to see the place for himself. With strong swimming skills and new equipment, he made it farther than most divers had before. As he swam deeper, light from the surface faded, and the water grew darker. Suddenly, something bright caught his eye, a yellow pouch stuck between two rocks, half covered in sea moss. Inside was a phone, still sealed tight, and next to it a small white and blue stick with a plus sign on it. Kyle stared at it, confused at first, but then he remembered the story his mom once told him. His heart began to race. He didn't know it yet, but he had just discovered the first real clue in the case that had remained silent for 5 long years. Kyle swam back to the surface as quickly as he could, careful not to damage the yellow pouch he had found. His hands were shaking as he climbed onto his boat, heart pounding in his chest. He placed the pouch on a towel and gently opened it. The phone inside was covered in condensation, but still dry from the sealed plastic. The pregnancy test beside it was faded, but the plus sign was still clearly visible. Kyle didn't know Amanda or Joel, but he had read about their disappearance years ago. Now it all rushed back to him. The beach house, the snorkeling gear, the strange story that never had an ending. He knew this had to be connected. The very idea sent chills down his spine. He dried off quickly and drove straight to the local police station, cradling the pouch like it was made of glass. When he told the front desk officer what he had found, the woman behind the counter froze. Within minutes, detectives were called in, and the evidence was taken into careful hands. It wasn't just a random item lost in the ocean. It was a piece of the puzzle people thought would never be solved. The phone was sent to specialists who worked on recovering data from damaged devices. After a few days, they were able to turn it on. The background image was of Amanda and Joel smiling at the beach house balcony, the same picture used in news stories 5 years earlier. That alone confirmed the phone belonged to one of them. But there was more. Videos had been saved the day they disappeared. The last recording showed Amanda and Joel swimming in shallow water, laughing and splashing around. At one point, Amanda turned to the camera and said, "I have a surprise for you." She swam over to the pouch and pulled out the pregnancy test. Joel's face was one of total shock, then joy. "Are you serious?" he asked. Amanda nodded, tears of happiness in her eyes. Joel hugged her tight and kissed her. The moment was beautiful. But then the camera shook. There was a sound like rushing water or bubbles. The camera dropped and began spinning underwater. The last image was of Amanda's hand reaching toward Joel, and then the screen went dark. Investigators watched the video over and over, trying to figure out what happened in those final seconds. They slowed it down, enhanced the audio, and looked at every corner of the frame. It seemed like a sudden wave or strong current had pulled them apart. But there was something strange. No panic, no screams, no struggle. Just silence, and then nothing. It was as if they had been taken away by the ocean itself, without warning. One diver who examined the reef again said there were hidden tunnels deep inside the rock, and once someone got pulled in, it would be nearly impossible to get out. It was possible Amanda and Joel had been caught in one of those currents. If so, their bodies might have been trapped deep inside for years. Amanda's and Joel's families were called the moment the phone and video were confirmed. Amanda's mother cried for hours, holding the video close to her chest as if it were a final message from her daughter. Joel's father watched the footage silently, tears falling from his eyes. The mystery that had haunted them for 5 years had an answer now, but it was a heartbreaking one. The pregnancy test revealed that Amanda was carrying a child, a grandchild they never got to meet. Yet, in that moment, watching the video, they finally understood that Amanda and Joel were happy in their last moments. There was love, joy, and laughter. No fear, no regret. It didn't make the pain go away, but it helped ease the deep, unending question of what happened. In the weeks that followed the discovery, the news spread quickly. Reporters returned to the beach town to cover the new developments. The story of Amanda and Joel was back in the headlines, this time with something close to an ending. People across the country who had followed the story from the beginning sent messages of sympathy and support to the families. Flowers were left on the beach outside the same house where the couple had stayed. Some came and lit candles by the dunes. Others stood quietly, looking out at the ocean, as if searching for some sign of them. The police officially closed the case, ruling it an accidental drowning caused by a strong current. Though the bodies were never found, the evidence from Reef, the phone, and the pregnancy test gave enough proof to understand what had happened. The ocean had taken Amanda, Joel, and their unborn child in a single quiet moment, leaving only memories behind. Amanda's mother decided to honor her daughter by starting a program for young women called Amanda's Light, where people could talk about motherhood, dreams, and relationships. Joel's best friend helped turn the story into a short film, ending it with the real footage of Amanda and Joel underwater, laughing, unaware of what was about to happen. He called the film The Last Light. It was painful to watch, but beautiful too. Viewers said it reminded them how fragile life is, and how important it is to hold on to moments of love while they last. People from all over began writing letters to the families, sharing their own stories of loss, of love, and of moments they would never forget. One woman wrote, "Your children reminded me to say I love you more often." Another said, "I never met Amanda or Joel, but I will carry their story in my heart." The diver, Kyle, who found the pouch, was honored by the town and invited to speak at the annual candlelight event held each year on the anniversary of their disappearance. He stood nervously in front of the crowd, holding the yellow pouch in one hand and a candle in the other. "I didn't know Amanda or Joel," he said, "but finding this made me feel like I was part of their story. They were in love. They had hope. And now they are remembered." The crowd stood in silence, the only sound being the soft crashing of waves behind them. Then everyone raised their candles to the sky. The beach glowed with hundreds of tiny lights flickering in the wind, as if stars had come down to rest on the sand. The beach house still stands, quiet and peaceful, just like before. New couples stay there sometimes, unaware of its past, until they find the small plaque placed near the balcony. It reads, "In memory of Amanda and Joel, 2 hearts, 1 light, forever in the sea." Some say at night, when the moon is high, you can hear laughter floating on the breeze. Others claim to have seen 2 figures walking hand in hand along the shore before vanishing into the waves. No one can say for sure, but those who knew them believe Amanda and Joel are together, free in the ocean that once took them, now part of the tide, forever dancing in the water.